Welcome to another Tanizaki siblings theory video. I talked about this over a year ago, but now we have slightly more information to work with, so I want to give it one more shot before the big reveal. Major Bungou Stray Dogs spoilers ahead. In chapter 118, Junichiro Tanizaki died. But I don't even care about that because that's not important right now. Before he died, he asked Atsushi to get a pen from his desk, because inside it is information about Naomi's real family. Her real family. Naomi is a real person, they aren't related, she has an actual family, it was never incest. But this raises so many questions. Who is her family? Where is her family? Why does Junichiro need to keep it a secret from her? And why is it something that should only be revealed when he knows he's going to die? Every theory about their relationship and their past always seems to boil down to trying to answer the same question. Who exactly is Naomi? It makes sense. I mean, she's one of the most mysterious characters in the series, even getting her name from a character from a book rather than a real author. It leaves a lot of room for speculation. But I think that's where we go wrong. It's a red herring purposely designed by Asagiri. I think we should actually be asking, who exactly is Junichiro? My theory is, Junichiro has been using his ability to convince Naomi that he is her real brother this entire time. Junichiro Tanizaki is not his real name, and he's involved in whatever happened to her family. First of all, I'm kind of basing this entire theory on the assumption that when Junichiro said Naomi's real family, it's confirming that Naomi is exactly who she says she is, and her real family would hence be the Tanizakis. I think this is most likely correct because of the fact that he needs to hide what actually happened to her family. If Naomi was pretending to be a Tanizaki, she would obviously know something happened to her actual family, and there would be no need for him to go as far as hiding the truth in a pen. I also want to point out that Asagiri chose to specifically use the word family and not parents. This implies her immediate family consists of more than just her parents, leaving room for her to have an actual older brother. Junichiro using his ability to pose as her brother is not only entirely possible, it explains a lot. Despite claiming to be blood-related siblings, they do not even look remotely similar. It's not just a character design thing because other characters in the series point it out. While it stands out to everyone else, Naomi doesn't seem to notice, almost like she's seeing something entirely different. This is because Junichiro has been using his ability to change his appearance only for her. Using light snow at full power all the time would probably be exhausting and may also give him away. With random bits of snow falling in the area, he activates it. It makes more sense for him to only be using it on Naomi. We haven't seen him do exactly this in the series, but his ability is very versatile. While it's explained light snow works by creating a screen of snow in an area, we have seen him do things like apply his ability to only the outside of an object to hide it. Something like only applying it around Naomi to trick her vision is theoretically possible. Junichiro's illusions are perfect. He was able to create an image of Fukuzawa that completely fooled Mori. There would be no way for Naomi to see through it. Of course, this entire plan falls through if he is touched by Daze in front of Naomi, but that has never happened. The closest they get when Naomi is present is in chapter 3 when they're sitting in the cafe, but they never get close to touching. The closest they have ever been is in chapter 19, where it looks like they could be touching, but Daze is just behind him. Not that it would matter even if they were, because Naomi isn't in the room with them. It would probably also fail when he's close to dying, but whenever that happens, Naomi is either not there or is knocked out first. So in the span of the series we've seen, it is entirely plausible that he's using his ability on Naomi. You would expect Junichiro to be himself and Naomi to be someone different, considering he is based on a real person while she is not. But reversing reality happens a lot in BSD. Asagiri has switched characters' genders and has reversed relationship dynamics, like making Akutagawa look up to Daze or Mori and Yosano hate each other. This is definitely a sneaky change Asagiri would make. This theory doesn't explain one detail though. If Naomi thinks Junichiro is really her brother, why does she act like that with her brother? I actually think Naomi is fully aware Junichiro is lying to her. I did say there was no way for her to see through his ability earlier, but even if he can flawlessly fool her eyes, there's no way he could get his personality or mannerisms absolutely perfect. Naomi has been shown to be nothing but capable and smart throughout the series. The character she is based on is a perfect manipulator, able to bend those around her to her will. She would easily be able to pick up on her brother being replaced by someone else. The incest thing is her way of messing with Junichiro. If she pretends like that was how she always acted with her real brother, Junichiro would have to play along or risk outing himself. But why would she stick around Junichiro if she knows he's lying to her? Simple, it benefits her. Her real family is nowhere to be found, and this guy looks after her financially, will protect her with his life, and ask for nothing in return. Not to mention, the agency is the safest possible place place she could be. And this mirrors exactly what happened to the original Naomi. Yes, she married a guy who was clearly a creep, but she got an education and a home. He would buy her anything she asked for, and she was able to do whatever she wanted. She absolutely made the most of the situation. BSD's Naomi has another reason to stick around too. She needs to learn what happened to her real family, which is something only Junichiro knows. So what did happen? Well, if it's something that Junichiro needs to hide until he knows for sure he's going to die, it must be pretty dark. The fact that he hasn't outright told Naomi, or anyone for that matter, leads me to believe he's involved in whatever happened. Junichiro is shown to be slightly mentally unstable, to say the least. He will completely snap if Naomi is threatened in any way. In the postscript of Volume 5, Harukawa explains she draws eyes to show how crazy a person is. She says there's a character whose eyes cloud over when they show their true self. It's never confirmed who this was about, but considering this is mentioned right before we see Tanizaki really lose it for the first time, I believe it's about him. But the existence of the pen and his will to one day let Naomi know the truth tells me he does feel some amount of guilt or remorse over the situation. There's an infinite number of possible answers, but I think my best bet for getting it right is to take inspiration from the real Tanizaki and his works. Tanizaki's entire shtick is destructive desire, so it's really a matter of how dark we think Asagiri is willing to go. Scenario 1. Naomi's family is actually completely fine, and Junichiro has just kidnapped her and is preventing her from seeing them. The most common theme in Tanizaki's works is the desire to monopolize a person. There's a lot of examples, but in Naomi and Tanizaki's first story, The Tattooer, both male leads stumble upon their ideal woman and absolutely must have her. They claim the girl by force, by bribing them or drugging them and holding them hostage. I wouldn't describe Junichiro's feelings for Naomi as romantic in nature. We have only seen him show a strong desire to protect her and nothing more. In both these cases, it's not about romance, but a feeling of wanting to have the person they deem perfect. Scenario 2. Or maybe it is romantic. Shortly after marrying his second wife, Tanizaki fell in love with a woman named Matsuko. He was obsessed with her, with most of his writings from the 1930s onwards being based around his desire for her in some way. He confessed his love for her many times, and these weren't your average confessions. He would go on about how he would be a slave for her and how she is a muse that fuels him with limitless creativity. One of the stories he wrote with Matsuko in mind, the story of Shunken, follows a man who has been serving a blind woman since childhood. Despite her extreme demands and abuse, he is more than willing to comply out of pure devotion for her. One day, her face is scarred by an attacker, and the man becomes blind soon after. The narrator explains that the man would go as far as to blind himself if the lady commanded that he should never see her disfigured face. Tanizaki and his characters are willing to go to extremes for their love. However, it's also implied in the story of Shunken that the man may have been the one to scar the woman, to take away her beauty before aging could. That would explain the duality of Junichiro, both wanting to protect Naomi and also possibly harming her family. Scenario 3. It was never about Naomi. Instead, maybe all Junichiro wants is a family. Tanizaki had quite a rocky relationship with his parents, as they went from well off in his childhood to struggling a few years later. He had to move out of his family home at a young age to work as a live-in tutor for another family. His mother passed away when he was 30. Many of Tanizaki's early stories were about a son and mother. Three of them in particular, Longing, Sorrows of a Heretic, and The Story of an Unhappy Mother, were collated into a short story collection in English. All these stories started by portraying a tumultuous family relationship, but the truth comes out in the end and we can see how much Tanizaki longed for his mother. While Naomi is obviously not a replacement for a mother, I hope, the same sentiment of a desire for family may be there. In particular, I like the idea of Junichiro meeting Naomi's family by working as her tutor. I mean, they were students before they joined the agency. Maybe he sees a perfect family and wants that for himself. Having said all that, romantic or sexual desire is something that is shown very little of in BSD. The Tanizakis have been an exception to this, so maybe the truth behind their relationship will continue to be. Nonetheless, I would be very shocked if Asagiri actually went in that direction, so I'm holding out for a much tamer reveal. Or maybe I just don't want my favorite character to turn out to be a creep and I'm in denial. Either way, thank you for your time.